should be going. So in Blender, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my view to an orthographic view. Could be bottom, could be top, won't really matter a great deal. I'm going to go Shift A, and that brings up the Add menu. Shift A for Add. Come down to Empty. Empty has various different choices, but I'm going to come down to Empty Image. Now this empty image, because I've looked from the top, it is showing a rectangle. But if I was looking from the side, it wouldn't be looking from the top. So if you accidentally aren't top orthographic, you might then come down to this little menu that pops up here, Add Empty, and then choose Align to View. This won't make any difference to me right at the moment because I'm looking from the top, okay? But whatever view you've got. So this rectangle, its job is to hold a picture. Now that I've got this object highlighted on the right hand side, you'll see this green, hopefully you're not colorblind, but it says, if you hop over it says Object Data Properties. So I will click that, and then Image, I can choose Open. Now I desktop, and there is my screenshot, Open Image. So there's my half sword done. Looks very blue because I had the projector going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that picture just slightly so that the 3D cursor is in the middle. I'm going to start with a plane. Shift A, Mesh, Plane, and oh no, my plane's too big. So what do?
Make it smaller.
How do I do that? Scale. So I push S for scale and I move my mouse in. And I'm going to make it look really small. Now I'm zooming in with the mouse. Now I'm going to grab it and I'm going to pop it and line it up with approximately the center of my sword. I'm going to push, what do I push to go into edit mode? Tab, thank you very much. So I'm going to push tab, I'm going to highlight that side, I'm going to go G to grab and bring it out to that side there. Now I'm going to, I deselected all that by double tapping A, and I'm going to extrude all the way up to here, and actually probably should have done it that way. So I've got a nice big block there, and grab really large blocks first, okay? And then if I go to wireframe, you can see I've overlapped that because I wanted to taper my sword, so I'll grab this and bring it in. And then I'm going to make it a pointy bit, so I've got various options. I'll actually show a few. I could extrude one point, bring it up to there, and then highlight all of those and push F to fill, and now that's one way of doing it. I'll undo and show you another way. If I extruded and brought up a square, I could highlight that one and push X for delete, but instead of delete the vertice, I could dissolve the vertice, and that did the same thing. There's more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. I'll go back to solid view. So there's the start of my sword. One really big issue here is there are not enough divisions. Does that make sense? I need more divisions. So I'm going to do Control R, and you'll see as I hover over this edge, there's a yellow line, and I'm going to scroll on my mouse wheel. Now I don't want to go crazy, that's too many. I want to have nice even amounts, so I'm just eyeballing it, and somewhere about there is a nice even amount. I'll do a click, and if I accidentally move it off to the side, then I haven't got it in the center anymore. So I'll right click and it just goes in the center. So far, I've just got one side of the blade. The next thing that I'm thinking about doing is adding a mirror modifier. So I come over to the right hand side and I click the one that looks like a spanner, add modifier, mirror. Now that mirror is in the right axis, but the problem is that dot right there, that's its origin point, and that's where it's mirroring from. There are many ways to move this mirror point, but if I'm in edit mode and I go G and I move it to the side, the mirror stayed in its place. If I was in object mode and I went G to grab, the mirror goes with it, or the origin point. So I'm going to tab to edit mode, G, and just move off to the side, and I think I'm okay with that. And I'm going to now highlight that entire center, and I'm going to bring it GX across to the side, and you see how that can come past it? That's because, I'll drop it, I don't have clipping on. I'm going to turn clipping on now. G, X, and I bring across. Now I cannot go past the middle. They're all stuck now, and I also can't G and pull it apart. I can go up and down and stuff, but they are now stuck together. Does this make some sense? Any questions? Do you want me to show that part again? So now I'm going to tilt this angle a little bit, and apart from the one on the end, I'm going to drop that. I'm now going to lift that section. That's going to be in the Z axis, GZ. See, there's a bit of a shape to my sword. And at the moment, one of my problems is my reference picture is so close, so I'm going to grab my reference picture and I'm going to, excuse me, I'm just having a little bit of difficulty getting it right. I want to grab my empty, which I should rename as reference picture. And then my plane I should rename as sword. And I can have, I'm going to move the reference picture. I'm going to move that in the y-axis, GZ, sorry. And highlight the right thing. Object mode, deselect all, reference picture, GZ, and pull it away. So now it's a little bit away, so I can actually have a bit of space clearance, so I can see what I'm doing. Back to object mode, or stay in object mode. I'm going to click on the sword, and I'll show you two ways for this mirror modifier. At the moment, it's in axis X. If I click Y, no, Z, there you go. I've actually got a bit of a sword made. That's not too bad so far. I could either have two with, one with an X and one with a Y, or I could add another modifier and then go mirror, and I've got two of them, and I changed that one from X and that one to Z. So there are certain advantages to having a mirror modifier applied and separately, because I could permanently apply one and not the other, and that would make life a little bit easier. So I'm going to tab and go into edit mode. Now in my picture you'll see this part, this little sort of dugout part that I did here. So with that I need to start doing some cutting. I might try a loop cut, Control R, pop in a loop cut up there, look from the top, and then I can make some adjustments under wireframe mode to try to get that to line up. None of that is lining up the way I wanted it to, so I'll go back to object mode and sort of put it in the center. And I can see that whole edge on the side there is not where I wanted from my reference picture, so edit mode, drag these parts and just put them where I want them. Now I didn't take a lot of care and time to draw this picture. I think I spent all of about 10 seconds drawing it. But you guys have spent weeks drawing your swords. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So there's the main shape of my blade done. I'm going to bring that one over to there. Now I want this taper across here, so I have to think how best to do that. I might put a loop cut across there, and one little knife cut, K for knife cut, click, click, push enter, so that's cut. And then this whole section, I might have to go back to solid view so I don't get confused. Oops, I flipped around, didn't mean to do that. I'm going to highlight this whole section through the middle. I want to go face select, I think now. Get that. Oh, got one that I didn't want to get. So shift circle click that one. Now I'm going to extrude that one in, and that's going to be in the down axis, E, Z, and it's going to indent there. Scale on the X axis, I think. Now there's a whole bunch of you with your designs that had runes and stuff written down through the middle. That's kind of what I had in mind for my quick demonstration. I'm not that pleased with this front part up here. I might make some modifications on that, maybe with a knife cut or something. But I'll leave it like that for now. But that's a really quick way to get going on just the sword blade itself. Okay, I don't really like how that part's raised. I probably want to make that flat. So if that's the case, I'm going to scale that in the y-axis to 0. So S for scale, Z axis, 0, and now that's flat. So that whole section through the middle there, I might be able to put a whole bunch of runes through the middle. So I think that I want to, at this point, make the left and right parts mirrored. So I think that was this one here, and it is. So if I click apply in object mode, apply, you'll now see that I've got geometry on the left and right sides, but I've still got the mirror on the bottom side over there, which you can sort of see when I turn on and off. So with that part in mind, that's just a quick way to get going on, firstly, inserting a reference picture. Secondly, starting to model a shape around that. There's a whole bunch more I could do, but I think that's a really good start point, and then thinking about improvement.